Hi, welcome to another episode of Potpourri. I'm Chevany Reed, your host, and I'm joined today by Kenni York of Kenni Enterprises. Hi, Kenni. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Please tell our viewers a little about yourself, what's going on with Kenni Enterprises, and how you came about Kenni Enterprises.
Okay, well, a little bit about myself. I'm born and raised in Atlanta. I'm a military wife and mother. I have 3 little boys. And last year, up until July, I was a government employee. I worked for DeKalb County Defects. But I've always been a writer. Writing is my passion, and up until last year, I had a couple of books out, but something happened in me, and I decided, okay, I need to go for what's in my spirit, what's in my heart. I left my job, my good government job, my good, reliable payment.
No one leaves a government job, right?
Good benefits, stepping out on faith, okay? And I decided to start my own company, Kenni Enterprises. And basically what we do is a plethora of literary things. We do copy editing, proof reading. We do creative writing classes for youth and adults all over the metro Atlanta area in different locations.
So I understand you help people who are also trying to write,
exactly,
who are also trying to live their dream, kind of through Kenni Enterprises.
Exactly, because I know how hard it is to step out into the literary world. So I try to give back as much as I can and help other people who also aspire to do the same thing, whether they're children or adults. So
now, Kenni, you're a mother of 3 boys, and you have written a plethora of books, awesome books.
Yes.
Where do you find the time? How do you do it?
And people ask me that question all the time, but more specifically, they ask me, when do I sleep? I don't sleep. I feel like I don't sleep. I'm always going, and I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how I find the time. I'm one of those people, I guess I have like a type A personality. I have my little planner, and every day I know exactly what it is that I am supposed to do. So I schedule time to write or do an activity with the boys or whatever it is that needs to be done.
So when did you realize that you not only liked to write, but you wanted to make writing a profession?
When I was in college, I took a creative writing course, and I had a professor. His name was Dan Marshall. I always like to shout him out. He gave us an assignment. It was something simple. I think I had to do a murder mystery scene, just the scene. And I did it, right? And when he gave it back to me, his notes said that it seemed like it was the beginning of a novel. So I took that and I expounded upon it. I actually made it a novel, and he helped me. And when I saw that, hey, I really can do a book, I figured, well, if I'm talented enough, I might as well make some money off of it. So I went ahead and put that first book out, and it's entitled Ask No Questions. But 4 books later, I decided, you know what, let me just do this. Let me just be an author and follow my passion.
So after 4 books, you realized, maybe I have a talent for this. I would have told you after the first book, anyone that could write a murder mystery is writing a good book, because, you know, you have the path of people before you, and that's awesome. So I know that this is a busy time for you. You just had a recent book come out, Karma 3.
Karma 3, yes.
So tell us a little about that. I know it was long awaited, and
yes, it is. Let me tell you, I am in love with this series. I like everything that I have written, and everything that I've written is good, and I may be a little partial, but it is. But Karma is like, that's my baby. Every time I put one out, I have readers, fans, emailing, texting, sending me messages on Facebook, asking for the next one. It's a great book. I was nominated for Female Author of the Year for Karma 1 from a book club community entitled AAMBC. So that tells you how good this Karma series is.
And people fall in love with the characters.
My main character in this series, her name is Mickey, and I say that she is the character that readers love to hate.
Well, that's when you know you have a good character,
yes,
right?
Yes, yes.
So with this series, what's next for Kenni Enterprises?
Kenni Enterprises is looking at a lot of different things going on. This is our Give Back to the Community time of the year.
With the it's not domestic, Sexual Awareness Month, right?
National Sexual Assault Awareness Month in April, yes.
And I understand that this project alone is very near and dear to you.
It is. I am a sexual assault survivor. So it's very important to me, and it's kind of a very sensitive subject for me. But I think that that only helps me get the message out more in a better or greater way, because I can relate to the people that we're trying to appeal to.
When we try to put a face on sexual assault, we never know what that looks like. And here's a face of sexual assault.
Absolutely.
And by doing that, I commend you, because there's someone else out there that says, don't be scared. Kenni did it. I can do it. And what do you have to say to those people, Kenni?
I just have to say I understand, and I know what it's like to try to find your voice. And if I can do or say anything this month or during our benefit event, anything at all that will trigger something to help somebody find their voice, just one person, then I've done what God intended for me to do.
And it's to give them that courage.
That strength.
To just know that it's going to be okay.
Right.
It can be okay.
It will be okay, because this does not define you.
And during this month, what is you doing? What's going on? I know you have an event planned.
Actually, this coming Saturday, April 13th, from 6 to 8, we're having a benefit event entitled Let Your Voice Be Heard, which is very fitting since we're trying to get people to find their voice. And it's different. It's kind of like a talent showcase. We'll have different types of talent there. Authors will be reading excerpts from their books. We'll have a comedian, few people singing, a few people doing spoken word pieces. I myself will be doing a monologue about my sexual abuse experience. And then, of course, the proceeds will go to the DeKalb Rape Crisis Center. So, and it's a red carpet event. We'll have someone there filming the event, and there'll be a photographer. So lots of great things for a good cause, lots of fun.
I think that's awesome. And where can we find out more about it? Where should we send our viewers?
Well, viewers can go to my website, which is www.kenniyork, Kenni with an I, Kenni, York, YORK.com for more information about the benefit event, the different people that will be there performing, and information about tickets, all of that on the website.
And before we close, Kenni, I know that you do so many things. You're an author, you're a motivator, you're an educator. Please tell us about, I know we have to go, but tell us a little about all the children that you mentor. And you're taking these children from areas where there is not that type of mentorship. And how did you come about that?
I always say that I want to be the type of author that makes a difference and not just a dollar. And I know what it's like to be a little child or a little person, a kid, wishing that somebody would reach out to you, whether you're in a domestic situation or you have any kind of abuse going on, or you just need somebody to believe in you. I know what all of that is like. So I try to be that person, that source for all of the children that I come into contact with, including my own children. I cannot neglect my own children. But yeah, I want to be that person.
So we were speaking about your benefit event, and I know that you're doing so many things during this benefit event for the children and for adults as well, correct? What segment of the benefits event is going to be provided for children versus adults? What can we expect to see during that time?
Well, during the event, to be honest, the event is tailored towards adults, so I don't expect for any children to come, and that's basically because of the venue that we'll be at. We'll be at Cat's Cafe, which is 970 Piedmont Avenue, so that's like a bar or lounge.
Right.
So we won't have any children there. Teenagers maybe, but not small children.
Right.
Right, so, and the talent is probably more geared towards adults anyway.
Now, can anyone participate, or was it a sign-up? And
it was for my talent, there was a sign-up type thing, so we are done soliciting for performers. Our lineup is solidified. And basically, it's a lot of Atlanta talent. We have a lot of talented individuals in Atlanta that are trying to get their names out. And so me reaching out to these people was kind of a way to help them promote themselves.
it's a platform.
Right,
and
exactly.
we all need a platform to get to
Exactly.
that next level.
Exactly. So I'm very grateful for the people that volunteered to share their talent with us.
I cannot wait to follow your journey. and to find out all the great things that Kenni Enterprises are doing, as well as Karma 4, 5, 6.
Absolutely, because as long as they keep asking for it, I will keep putting them out.
And I don't see it slowing down anytime soon.
Let's hope not.
And I just want to encourage you for all the great things you do for our community and let you know that it is appreciated because you are making a difference. And so many times authors don't make that difference, but you do have the voice to let your story be told. And from that story, someone else's story can be told.
And that's what I'm hoping for.
So again, before we leave, where can we find Kenni Enterprises?
You can find Kenni via my website, www.kenniyork.com, and that's Kenni with an I, Kenniyork. But I'm also on Facebook. You can look me up under author Kenni York, and also on Twitter as Kenni York.
When we come back, we'll have author and designer Christopher Davis. More Potpourri when we return.
Up to 40% of businesses never recover. Up to 40%.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit, we're hot, we can't be stopped. We got much too much. We got the spirit, we're hot, we can't be stopped. We got the spirit, we're hot, we can't be stopped. We're gonna beat them and bust them.
The smallest
spirit, we're hot, we can't be stopped. We're gonna beat them and bust them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little.
Wake the sun, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. Tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
Up to 40% of businesses never recover. Up to 40%.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit, we're hot, we can't be stopped. We got much too much. We got the spirit, we're hot, we can't be stopped. We got the spirit, we're hot, we can't be stopped. We're gonna beat them and bust them.
The smallest
spirit, we're hot, we can't be stopped. We're gonna beat them and bust them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little.
Wake the sun, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. Tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
Up to 40% of businesses never recover. Up to 40%.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit, we're hot, we can't be stopped. We got much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're gonna beat them and bust them.
The smallest-
Spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're gonna beat them and bust them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little.
Wake the sun, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. Tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
Hello and welcome back to Potpourri. I'm Chevany Reed, your host, and I'm joined by Christopher Davis, author of We Too Shall Wear a Crown and hat designer. Thanks, Christopher, for joining us today. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me.
Great. I read your book. I am in love with your book. I'm in love with hats and church women in hats. How did you get started?
Well, I actually got started as a kid, just playing around. My mother actually did it for as a craft, because she was very crafty, and she just basically did it as a craft. And while she was doing it for friends and family members as a decor item for the doors, or either as a decor for the home, she would always ask, me to assist her. My siblings would go out and play and do other things, but she would always ask me to assist her in doing it. And so what happened, it just basically, it was a seed that was actually planted into me when she would ask me to help her.
So it started off, it wasn't necessarily church hats. It was just hats as gifts.
As gifts, right.
So how did you segue into this major topic of women and their church hats? That I know the Bible talks about it, or so we think the Bible talks about it, but when you really explore the passage, we realize that it doesn't necessarily say a woman has to wear a church hat.
It doesn't necessarily say a woman have to wear a church hat, really. I think sometimes we get the 1 Corinthians 11:5 a little misconstrued, but it's merely a fashion statement. It's not a biblical mandate. But when you think about my book and the research that I've done in the book, and talking about the women who have come from Africa and other continents, primarily with the head coverings and stuff like that, tying the rags around their heads, just basically went from tying a rag around your head to a more, visible look, beautifying yourself.
And we talk about the African women and their head garb, and I thought it was really interesting in your book how you spoke about the women in Africa who first it starts as the head covering, but their hair is kind of intertwined into their hat, and their hat is like a permanent hat, and they make special beds. Talk to us about that research and how you came to even find that out. That's the first time I heard about it.
Well, I had a relative who was living in Africa at the time when I started working on the research for the book, and he was telling me some areas that I needed to explore, and he turned me on to the Izikolo, which is what you're referring to. That's the technical term for that. And this basically, it's a hat, but it's symbolic for marriage in Africa. And so he kind of turned me on to that, in the beginning of the research.
So let's back it up. So your grandmother who raised you, and you later went back to kind of take care of your grandmother. So you left Philly.
I left Philadelphia. My grandmother was getting ill, and for whatever reason, I think my mother felt like my grandmother would only listen to me. And so she would call upon me constantly to ask me for, assistance over the phone. And so then it went from being assistance over the phone to traveling from Philadelphia to South Carolina.
Because we know your grandmother only really listened to you. You could say it.
So eventually, as her health began to decline, I just basically started transitioning from Philadelphia to South Carolina, and then found myself there permanently. But in the transition modes, I needed to find some type of way to inform the people that, okay, this guy is coming and he's a designer. And so, I needed to find a way for them to, see my designs, and also, find out the fact that I'm a designer, and also, what my next step is, and I didn't need it to happen in a small way, You
needed to arrive
big. And so at that particular time, when the rebirth of crowns, or I would say the rebirth of hat wearing through the book Crowns by Michael Cunningham and Craig Marbury, when it aired prior to, I think it was around Christmas time when the book situation aired, but when it aired, I immediately called some of my friends, and I was asking them, are you watching CBS Sunday Morning? And some of them were like, yes. And so I was like, this is it. This has to be taken a step further. And that is what that was my plan, to take it a step further, and that's what I did. So I contacted my friends, and we kind of talked about it, contacted the authors and told them, well, I'd like to have this event, and I like to use the book, to help push the event along. And so all of the honorees for that particular event received a copy of the book. They received a hat from my collection. They received a plaque commemorating the event, and one other little item, or two other items. They received a photograph of them in a hat and a rose corsage. And all of the honorees were excited. They were thrilled. Just to think that, all I did was wear a hat to church. But to me, it wasn't just them wearing a hat to church. They were like trailblazers, They stood out in the congregations. Those were the ladies who took young persons like myself under their wings, and they trained us to do church work, and they trained us for community work. And so they really kind of instilled in us, education, morals and values and stuff like that.
That lady in the church hat, we have a respect. When I go to church and I see the mothers and the many women in their church hat, it makes me feel proud. It does something to me as a young woman.
Right, because they stand out, and they are pretty much they set the tone for, all the ladies in the church. Like you say, there is a respect for them, because it's like, wow, when you see them, it's, they're set aside. That this is a different lady. She's not just the average lady that's in the church. And of course, they are leaders in their congregations and their communities. So,
and it's safe to say that this tradition has not died.
It has not died.
It is alive. It is popular.
It is.
And no matter whether you go from California to New York, there are women at church in their church hat.
There are. And since you said that, I really fight hard to against. I feel like it's a myth that when you read articles, or you see things as it pertains to black women, wearing hats to church, it's always something that says, oh, well, it's a fading tradition, it's not happening anymore, and that's not the case at all. And I fight hard to, prove that to be a myth. And so I feel like, all of the, with what I've done thus far, as far as research, writing the book, film documentaries, photographing ladies everywhere I go, keeping my camera on me, just to snap images of women in church hats, and, laying out obtaining a degree in business administration to lay out the foundation for, several business aspects as it pertains to hat wearing, and also coming to Clark Atlanta University, enrolling in mass media arts to utilize that program to move my designs forward, to put them either on the runway or create some type of reality show, but just to let people know, and visualize that it's not a fading tradition.
In your book, you speak about making sure you wear the hat that is right for you.
Right.
So oftentimes we think, it's a hat, I could wear it, anyone can wear
Right.
it. But like anything else, whether it's a dress, you have to do something that complements you as a person. So I understand I have an oval face, and I have a Christopher Davis collection here that was picked out for my face
Right.
and for my look. And I wanted to just try it on so the viewers could see exactly what you're saying when you say pick a hat that's perfect for you. So as I pick my hat and I get into my church lady pose,
Right.
I want to say your designs are absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
And in your book, you give so much homage to other designers as well as just ordinary church women. I mean, that's where we get the look from. So as I say this, I know that you have an event coming up. It's here at Clark Atlanta?
It's here at Clark Atlanta.
Tell us a little about that.
What I'm doing is, of course, the book itself is been published, but what I'm doing is here again taking it to another level on April the 30th here at Clark Atlanta University in the Art Gallery foyer. Going to be introducing a new book project for ladies in the Atlanta area. It's a number of ladies in Atlanta who love hats. Here again, I'm in Atlanta, need to introduce myself to the hat wearing community and introduce my designs to them. So here I'm going to be giving them an opportunity to be featured in a new book. So often when people purchase a copy of my book, they always like, well, I love the book and, I like everything in it. But then having that opportunity to be featured in one yourself, is different.
It brings it home to the people.
It does.
And I just like that you're giving back again to Clark Atlanta.
Right.
And I wish you the best. I cannot wait to see the next episode of women wearing their hats.
Right.
And I hope to be featured in that as well.
Of course you will.
But where can we find you, Christopher?
I have a new website that's being, it's under construction actually. It's www.churchhats.me. And also people can reach me by way of phone, 267-663-9003.
And your book is available on Amazon.
And my book is available on Amazon, it is. And it's also available at the Woodruff Library here at AU Center for checkout. And of course, they're for sale, of course, but if you just want to just stop in and take a look at it immediately prior to purchasing it, it's available at the Woodruff Library.
Well, thank you so much for attributing yourself to the black women and giving homage to my mother, my grandmother, our mothers and grandmothers. Right. So in closing, thank you again for coming. And thank you for joining us for another episode of Potpourri. I'm your host, Chevany Reed, and I look forward to seeing you soon.